Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from and who to rule well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Unto you I say Shalom. Coming to you back on another lesson through the Spirit, and I'm entitled this one. This current world is for many people. This current world is for many people, meaning this kingdom of Esau, Edom, which is a self-proclaimed white man that is currently ruling this world, this age, because of the blessing that was given unto him by Isaac, that temporary blessing, pretty much that second place, because ultimately he sold his birthright to Jacob, which is Israel, and his descendants will be blessed by Isaac, by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, to have rulership of the planet Earth for eternity. But right now is the quote-unquote kingdom of Esau, Edom, which really it was Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that gave this devil this time to rule, like it says in the book of Daniel, how he sets up the basis of all men. Ultimately is the Lord who allowed all these different heathen nations to rule, but we're at the last captivity, the last kingdom of a heathen ruling upon the planet Earth, because the next to be first and foremost the 144,000 being joined hairs with Yahweh Shai upon the planet Earth. But what we see right now is, to be able to make it in this world, you got to do wickedness. You got to bow down to Esau, Edom. You got to bow the knee to Baal. You got to do all these abominations to get to the quote-unquote top, like these celebrities, these ball players, even Jake in the corporate world. Jake is willing to sell out for a six-figure job, but that's ultimately because they envy the wicked, like it says in the... But the end of the wicked, the end of the 2/3 of our people, of the nation of Israel, of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, is going to be destruction. It's going to be death. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse 1. It says, "And he answered me, saying, the Most High had made this world for many, but the world to come for few. And what's this world? This current world is the world of Esau, Edom. It's the world of the wicked. The world where the more wicked you are, the more you thrive. Because living a holy and separate life, keeping the law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability, being separate from this world, that's frowned upon in this society, because everybody follows the trends, all these different ways of life that lead to death. So this current world is for the 2/3 of our people and these heathens. That's why they don't want to leave this world behind. They're comfortable here. They're okay with all the wickedness. They're okay with GMO foods and chemtrails and being bombarded with all these chemicals in the air. It says, but the world to come for few. The world to come for few, that's going to be the kingdom of heaven, where ultimately the elect of the nation of Israel, starting with Yahweh Shai, King David, the 12, the rest of the 144,000, are going to put order back upon the planet Earth. Because right now the world is out of order, is out of whack. Everybody's suffering from the population, the people, the sea life, the fowls of the air, the trees, everything's suffering because of who's in power. But that's why the elect of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai are sighing and crying, like it says in Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4, to get delivered up out of here, because this isn't living. Once you have the true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, you eat the whole roll. You just don't eat the sweet, but also the bitter. you understand how the world is supposed to be ran. And you understand how it's being ran right now, and it puts you in that sorrowful spirit. You're like, okay, damn, the world's being jacked up by this devil. This is how it's supposed to be ran, but that's why Yahweh Bashim Shai is about to bring this devil down, because if not, he would end up destroying not just the earth, but himself. That's why the days are being sped up, like it says in the book 24. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 18. It says, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. So with this wisdom, that have been given to us by Yahweh Bashim Shai, through the Holy Spirit, we understand the world is supposed to be ran based off the law, statute, commandments, not off no U.S. Constitution and all these laws that Esau is passing, carbon footprint. These people don't understand that their way of life, that they're so used to being comfortable, DoorDash, going to work, taking vacations, that's all about to be cut off, because Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, is about to come down with that great wrath. But these people don't understand that. They think that their life is going to continue as it's been. But no, Esau, Edom, he's about to crash this system. He's about to crash the economy, the dollar, which is going to lead to all hell breaking loose. You got the Strait of Hormuz being closed, affecting everything. Gas is $5-6 in some places. Once the price of gas, the price of diesel is so high to the point where these trucks can't afford, sending these trucks out, these 18-wheelers, to these retail stores, these grocery stores, they're going to close up shop because it's not going to profit them no more. But these people don't understand that these people have been blinded by Yahweh Bashim Shai. They've been put in that spirit of deep slumber, like it says in the book of Isaiah 29. So in their mindset, they think that, oh shit, we good. We got McDonald's, we got Starbucks, we got BET, we got World Star. Our people is not worried about all hell breaking loose, because in their mindset, they think that things are going to continue as they've always been. But the elect, they have been given the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. They know that this isn't the end all be all, that there's a better world to come. But knowing that, that puts you in that sorrowful spirit of understanding, okay, damn, we fucked up. That's why we're in captivity, because we sinned against Yahweh Bashim Shai. But now you have a remnant in the elect, elect that would come back to the Heavenly Father through his only begotten Son in these last days. This is Micah chapter. And only the elect and the remnant are arising and departing. Not in the sense of, I'm going to get on a boat, I'm going to get on a plane and then fly to Colombia somewhere, an island in the middle of nowhere. No, this is talking about detaching yourself from the ways of this life, from the expectations. Because ultimately the elect, the remnant, know that this isn't the end all be all, that there's a way better world to come, which is the kingdom of heaven. But for now, we still got to, deal, with our daily lives, daily routine, going to work, taking care of the daily responsibilities. But the remnant, the elect, know that this isn't going to be like this forever, that things are about to change very soon, that Esau, Edom, is about to crash the system. He's about to come down with that great wrath. He's about to implement the MOTB, which is the RFID microchip. But these people, they don't consider that. They think that, things are going to continue as they've been. Nothing's ever going to happen. But we're at the beginning stages of world breaking loose. And that's how a lot of people are going to get caught off guard. They're going to get caught off guard because they make this captivity, this kingdom, their rest. Talking to the 2/3 of our people, of the nation of Israel. And that's why they're going to get destroyed with that sort of destruction. A lot of our people are going to want to stay here. They're going to want to keep this life. Like it says, he that shall try to save his life shall lose it. That's what a lot of our people are going to do. They're going to try to save their life. They're going to take that RFID microchip, which is the MOTB, and they're going to get that second death. This is Isaiah 51:14. It says, the captive exile hasteth that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. and the captives are ultimately the Israelites. But who are the only ones who know and that accept, that they're in captivity, that they're in slavery, that they're not free, that we're ultimately, in bondage under these heathen nations, is the remnant, the elect. Because you have some of our people that know, okay, yeah, we're just slaves, but they don't really accept it, like the remnant and the elect are doing. That ultimately we're here, like it says in the book of Micah chapter 7 and verse 9, we're here to bear the indignation of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai because we sin against the Lord. That's why we're in captivity. But it's not a eternal prison sentence. No, it's a sentence that is ultimately coming to an end very soon. Ultimately by the deliverance is going to take place of the elect, the remnant, by Yahweh Shai when he makes his second coming. That's right around. That's only reserved for the remnant and the elect, because our people, the wicked 2/3 of our people, they don't think they're in captivity. They don't think that they need to be released. They're okay with America, Babylon the Great, and that's why they're going to be destroyed. This is the book of Hebrews 11 and 24. It says, by faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Verse 25, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. So here Moses was pretty much second in command in Egypt, ancient Egypt. He had access to all these different, resources, but yeah, he said, nah, to hell with that. Man, I'm gonna serve Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, what the hell with Egypt, and that's the same spirit that the elect and the remnant are in here today, because brothers could have, been successful in the world in the sense that, they could have, maybe they had a record deal, maybe they had, a professional sports contract, millions of dollars, but they left that behind to serve Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Brothers had job opportunities, but it was going to hinder in the way of serving the Lord. That's why the elect and the remnant, they're in the same spirit today, choosing rather to suffer, patiently waiting upon Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to exalt them, because that's what our people want to do. They want to exalt themselves on this side. They want to be famous. They want the vainglory, but this current world is about to pass away. It says, verse 26, esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasure in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. Verse 27, by faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invincible. So he feared Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. He said, man, to hell with these treasures in Egypt. I'm going to serve the Lord. I'm going to store up those treasures in heaven, like it says in the book of Matthew chapter 6. And that's what the elect and the remnant are doing. They're storing up those treasures up in heaven, while the wicked of our people, they're storing up treasures up on earth, where moth and rust, like it says, doth corrupt. That's what's happening to these 2/3, houses that they're building upon this fallen kingdom. Like it says in the book of Psalms, except the Lord build that house, he built it in vain. The 2/3 of our people, they're building in vain. This is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 12. It says, looking for and hastening unto the coming day of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with a fervent heat. So this is what we're looking forward to. The destruction of this kingdom of America, Babylon the Great. Because once that happens, that's the downfall of Esau, Edom. And that's where the beginning stages of the kingdom of heaven begins, with the elect and the remnant getting delivered out of that thermonuclear destruction. But the rest of our people that were so invested in the system, they're going to get put to death, by that fire when they take the MOTB, the RFID microchip. Verse 13, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwells righteousness, and that's where we're eagerly. Everything's going to be good. It's going to be finally rest and joy. Not having to worry about waking up to an alarm at 4 or 5 in the morning, every damn near every single day. You got Esau ruling over you, the black woman ruling over you. You got kids out of order. You got wines running around. No, that's all about to be done away with in this current world and in this current life. And then ultimately it's going to be the law, statutes, commandments that are going to be at the forefront of the planet Earth, which is going to be the kingdom of heaven. I pray that this was edifying unto the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who are learned this truth from and hold the rule well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. And to you I say shalom.